Aber ich liebe die deutsche Sprache.
Yeah, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
But it's quite hard to learn, I guess.
No, it wasn't hard to learn because I just started doing it. And people
and it's fun.
I just took word after word, and I needed 10 words. Obsetskes ass, no, it was easy. And I had a lot of fun and I learned. But the difference was, in order to come to my training, you either had to have a horse who was fearful, or you as an adult rider, and I only took adults in those days, you had to have had an accident that caused you to be fearful. But you had to ride, but you had to be a little afraid. And so I started working with that. And then I took a 4-year course in San Francisco. Every summer I would go for 12 weeks to San Francisco to study with Dr. Moshe Feldenkrais. And in all winter, I'd be in Germany and Austria and Switzerland teaching. So that's how I came up with this idea of finding an easier way to teach horses to learn, through the idea of you, instead of running them around, you show them step by step, and then later I worked on the body. And once I added the body work in 1983, it just came to me, these circular touches. Wow, you could take a horse that didn't want to be touched or was afraid or not friendly, and just by moving, catching the skin and moving it, you'll see it in the video.
Yeah.
Just like that, 1 1/4. It's not around and around. That doesn't work, because we did then a lot of studies later on this showing, we can actually affect the brain waves of the horses by moving this 1 1/4 circle. And so it was easy to teach. And now we've developed a method, and this is my German book. That's the Bible. And the thing that's cool about it, you don't want to have to be afraid, because you can open it to any page, and everywhere it just shows you, okay, this is what I want to do this today. And it shows you how to do that one thing. So
what is it called, the book?
It's Tellington Training for Pferde.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the große Lehr- und Praxisbuch.
Okay, and there's everything in it, like wherever you wanted to use the T-touch method for
riding, for groundwork, for the work on the body, the T-touch, and the philosophy. So all you have to do with this book, you read the first 36 pages. You read that, because that gives you the background. And then I'm going to show you, I love this book. It took us 8 years to write it. That is a list of every kind of behavior that you could have. And you just look at the page, and then you turn to that page, and it shows you what you can do on the body and what you can do on the ground.
So it's like a symptom list, like how your horse is behaving wrong right now, and you can have a look there.
Yeah, exactly. I need to put the light on it. So I mean, it's like scheu oder Cookie oder kann nicht gefangen werden, difficult to catch, all those things. Or colic. I mean, colic. If you have a horse with a colic, we have hundreds and hundreds of cases where you call your vet, of course, or you just start working the ears and doing the belly lifts, and you can get the gut action going again, and you can get them out of pain. And many, many, many times you can actually get them out of the colic. I mean, we've been doing that since 1958, when I saved the life of my endurance mare.
He had, or she had, an colic?
My endurance mare, Bent Galita, had a 4-day impaction. And this is in the years when they didn't do surgery at those days. So my vet had been there every day. They had her on a drip. She had running just green, hay coming out of her nostrils. And my vet was on the 4th day, he was coming to euthanize her. And so in order to say, I was just wanting to say goodbye. And so I just quietly started working her ears, just intuitively. And they were soaking wet and just ice cold. And I just kept doing it slowly, not in just thinking, oh, this is the end, goodbye. And I don't know, after maybe 15 minutes of me of kind of contemplatively doing this, suddenly her ears started to get dry, and then they got warm, and then she lifted her tail, and that was the end of the impaction. And we've been doing this ever since, and we have many, many veterinarians who know this work, and they'll tell their client in cases where the vet will come to you. Not many places anymore, but you can do this while you're waiting for help from your vet.
Yeah. So you also brought a video. Can you
Yes.
give us some information about that before we give the video afterwards?
Yes, I'm very excited that I have this video. I made this at the Meglis Dressage Stable, where I go every year just to be they're friends of mine, and they have many wonderful dressage horses. And so this was a horse that he hadn't been shown much at all because he was really nervous in the arena with other horses. What would happen, he'd get really tense and then would lose his rhythm. And so you'll see, by working on this body, I show you what you can do. And I do it free in the stall, because when you're doing T-touch on your horses, you don't want them tied. I want them so they can turn to me and look at me and show me, how they're feeling about what I'm doing. So it's a really 5-minute video. I'm so happy that I can show this to you. So you're the first ones who've seen this video.
So it's a preview, like the very first view ever. And in this video, you also show really what to do or what people can do at home to start with T-touch, the first try.
Yeah, the horse is free in the stall, and you just start, going over the body with your hand, and you want to be able to touch your horses anywhere, down the legs, on the neck, everywhere. And that's how you look at the trust. We're doing that to check for trust, because T-touch, the second T in T-touch, stands for trust, Vertrauen in Deutsch. Leider ist es kein T, aber it's trust. And so you want to just take your hand over the whole horse. Can you touch that horse everywhere while he's standing still?
Not leashed, yeah.
Not tied, exactly, not tied. And it's best in the stall, but I also, at Equitana, I do this with a horse I've never worked with before, standing in the middle of the arena with nobody holding him. So this is Fabio, and he is now 9 years old, and he is a wonderful character, but he has a problem when he is in a warm-up situation with another horse coming toward him. He really throws his head up and is really scared. And so one of the things that I want to show is this sensitivity in his back. And this is not extreme. On a 1 to 10, it's like, 6. And the thing is, the whole rest of the body feels really good. So I'm going to bring his back up. Good boy. That's nice. And I want him free like this instead of tied, because he can feel more this way. That's it. So I'm lifting it back just there. That's really good. Because I want to give him a confidence in his back. Because when you have sensitivity like this, and something scares him, he tightens this and that, and he scares himself. So he's hurting himself without realizing it. So if we bring right to this area, we get the cells communicating. And I'm going to do this by lifting from underneath that, before I get him to actually lift his back. And this is really good that he turns and looks at me like this. He's asking, what are you doing? That's a boy. Now, good. And he's really has a lovely feeling in his body, because I'm using a 7 contact here. That's good. That's really good. Excellent. Now, easy. I'm going to keep this back on. That's a boy. That's it. Now I'm going to come along. I'm holding with my left hand, just asking him to keep his back up. Good. Excellent. And I want him to feel that connection all the way through. Back up, all the way. So I'm using a 6 pressure here. And don't do that unless you have, strong hands. Bring your back up. It's a good boy. That's really good. And I let him sniff the back of my hand, not the front. I use my breath, and I really visualize the connection between the cells. Circle in the cord. Excellent. And I run parallel to the back line, to the ground. And my pressure is only what I can, like he's okay with. If he would like tighten these muscles under my hand, I would go lighter. Now he's saying there, that was a little too much. Now he feels me. And now I can use like a 5 instead of a 7. That's nice. Now he's starting to feel. Now I'm changing and using tiger touches. And if you're watching this and you don't know what I'm talking about, the different parts of our hand have different names, so anybody who knows the work can know what I'm referring to. That's really good. Let me do some troika. And that's about a 4.5 out of 10 pressure. And normally, like on a sport horse, we usually use these more pressures, because on a pleasure horse, I'd be doing a 3 or 4. Nice. Good. That's really good. Now, that's about maybe 4 minutes, and that's a grip on this side. Let it feel that, and then do the other side. And I'm using the tips of my fingers, the raccoon here. All right, nice. That's a really good boy. All right. Okay, so let me just think about it. One of the secrets, except I tell everybody, but it's like a secret, right? For success to keep your horse calm and trusting you is that you are calm. That's number one. And how we do that is by, I'm just going to show you, it's what we call a heart hug. So you put one hand over the other, just like lightly, don't flatten it, just soften your hand. And you imagine, before I'll take a deep breath, but first I imagine the face of a clock that you like, round clock, the old-fashioned kind that you take off the wall and you put it here. And now on our imaginary clock, we put numbers. So you put the number 6 is always toward the ground, 9 over here to the shoulder, 12 up to your chin, and 3 to the left. Now, why do we put numbers on an imaginary clock? Because when I put the numbers there, that activates my logical part of my brain. And if you're calm and just grounded, your horse will want to be with you. These are tests that actually have been done by Heart Math Institute in California. That shows when you can be calm in a place of heart coherence, and you can Google that and see what it means, then the horse wants to be with you, because your horses will mirror how you're feeling. So we put this imaginary clock here, and then you put one hand over the other, and then you catch the skin, like you catch it and you move it lightly from 6 up to 9, 12, 3, 6, 9. But you move the skin. You don't go over, you move the skin. Now, you can be like excited before you're riding, or maybe you're nervous before something you're doing with your horse, and just do this. So you breathe in, and you go one time around the clock up to the quarter point, to the 9.
So 1.25.
1.25. And David, actually that 1.25 is actually a spiral. It took me years to figure that one out. And that the spiral is really important because it's the same spiral that's in nature. It's a complete movement. And when you do this, like, and then what's important, you add to it the smile. Why do you add the smile? Because the smile activates the hormone serotonin, the feel-good hormone.
Yeah.
And I pause, take another breath, and then slowly release. Then I start again, just a little bit different place, but with the smile. Now, what you can really add to that really makes it the most effective to ground you, connect you, calm you, and bring you into heart coherence is, as you're doing this, at the end, you think of like something you really love, like a place in nature, an animal, you know, something that makes you really smile and feel wonderful. And that brings gratitude. Now, the thing is, when you have gratitude, you can't have fear. Gratitude overrides fear. And I mean, these are things, and what we want to do, we want to overcome your fear or your little, hesitation or your normal stress of life, for heaven's sake, because you want to be doing this at home now during this whole pandemic thing.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel fearful, or whenever you get these, like, David, do you ever get these looping thoughts in your head, like the same song that goes over and over? We all get it. It's stress. As soon as you do this,
you
stops
can
it.
Release it.
You override it. And the reason is, when we're stressed or, in that state of confusion, fear, whatever, it's the limbic system in control. But as soon as we start doing this heart hug, it activates the forebrain, and then you have choices.
Yeah. So as you say, it's like really, really important when you go to your horse that you are not fearing or have any bad thoughts, because like horses are so good at having a look at us and immediately know if we are friendly or if we enjoy being with them or if we want to harm them, or like horses know. And so you can do the teach out with yourself before you go to the horse.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you're in Italy right now, and it was in Italy about, I don't know, maybe 25 years ago that a study was done showing that the emotions that we humans have are picked up by animals. So if we're emotionally in a state of agitation or like in a big rush and not present, we're not grounded, then they don't feel comfortable. They don't want to be with us. So, and also what the T-touch does, like this 1.25 circles, at moving the tissue 1.25, and then a slide to the next place. This is what you're going to see me do on the horse's back. And then the slides from the belly up to the back. And the ganze Rumpf is activated. Huh? So it's something, when you do this with your horse, and even if you do it like 5 minutes before you ride, before you start grooming or saddling, the horse will be different with you.
Yeah. So one question before we move to the video. Do you think there are horses which are really not made to work with humans, or is it always that like every horse can be working with humans because like there are horses out there which were harmed very much and just were suffering because of people. And so do you think every horse can find the right person for him, so the horse can enjoy being with humans again? Or do you think like some horses just are not for working or being with people?
Well, I think there are a couple of things. When horses have had severe trauma and learned not to trust people, that it's like it's like having a real trauma, and that takes a lot of trust to overcome. And there are some horses that have pain in the body. If they have pain in the hips or the back or the shoulders or the neck, like from pulling back, and they're fearful, and you need to get that pain addressed because they just cannot function. Or if you've got horses that, for instance, have Lyme disease and you don't know it, and a lot of horses have it, and so that their behavior.
What is Lyme disease?
Lyme disease is borreliosa.
Borreliosa. Okay, yeah, like from the second.
The tick, the second, yeah, and so when you're dealing with a horse with a really emotional, either fear because of what happened to them, or some sort of issue that's going on, problem, physical problem, then you need to get that taken care of. And so what I find now, many people just love to be on the ground with their horses.
Yeah, more.
Yeah, loving doing lots of things, and the horses do it. What I would like to say to people is when you're working with your horse, treat your horse like you would like to be treated. And be careful that you don't, horses will go on and on and on, but give them a break, give a pause. We call it a mindful pause, where the horse and you can stop and think in between. And that just makes a huge difference. And pay attention to your breathing, because when you get grounded and you do like we do something like, it's called the body blessing, and you just run your hand over your body down to the side, you just outline your body. That gives you boundaries. And that's what we do with the horses, with the labyrinth work that we did, that I developed, in 1970. When did I first showed that at Equitana, I think in 78, in 79. Boundaries from the labyrinth, boundaries from the body wrap. And in the book, you'll see the body wraps, because when you put like a elastic wrap, and not a tight one, I don't like the heavy bands that they're using. These are stretchy, not too tight, and it gives the horse a sense of themselves. So if you've got a spooky horse, just put that what we call the banda, corpora banda, around them. Yeah. So we have all these ways. So some horses are better worked from the ground, and for me, it's a lovely thing to see. And one of the things at Equitana, I think it's like 4 years ago or 6, I don't know, a few years ago, I was given a big celebration for my 40th year at Equitana. It was huge, a huge party. And I was given, I'm so honored that is it the Verein for Riding and Driving? Is it VFD?
Yeah.
VDF. I always forget the initials. Do you know what it is?
No.
Oh, okay. I should have looked it up before. I always forget the initials, but I was given a lifetime membership in this organization for for riders and drivers, Freizeit riders and drivers. And it's a big honor for me. So at that 40th celebration, my godson is Christian Kroeber, who has Wee Horse now. And so Christian asked me, okay, so Linda, 40 years, you brought bridleless riding to Germany, and now everybody does it. It's wonderful. What's your next vision? And my next vision, David, for my next 20 years of my life, because I'm coming up to 83 now. So I figure I've got another you know, if it runs in my family, maybe, hopefully 20 years
Yeah,
when
you
I
can
can
do
be
that.
teaching. Yeah. And so my vision now for us to awaken to the connection, this trust, this calmness that you're talking with the calm horse, the trust between humans and horses. And so I think of it as a relationship that is heart to heart, cell to cell, because we are awakening the wisdom in the cells with every T-touch. It's recognizing that miracle that are horses, that we are, and then soul to soul. So we connect at a soul level, and that's what a lot of people are wanting, this
Yeah.
really special relationship. And that's why I love your Calm Horse Summit, like conference.
Yeah, like for us, it's really important to bring new ideas to horse people, so they can choose which methods they want to follow, or new ways to work with the horses. So as you said, a lot of horses are suffering out there because maybe the person didn't find the right technique yet, or to find the connection with the horse, and maybe doesn't listen yet because there were so many years, like when you go to a basic riding school in Germany, they just tell you to get the straps, like Ausbinder, it's called in German. So fix your horse and then go round after round. And when you have education like this and you get your own horse, so how did you learn other ways when you don't get information on the internet or something like this? So that's really important for us, and that's like why we are really enjoying or loving that you joined us, because you have such a different way to work with the horses, and you are like long experience to work with the horses, and you have many studies, and you develop the method, as you said, because like when it's too different for people to do at home, they're not doing it when they don't understand it or something. But that's the nice thing at T-Touch, that it's like really easy to learn and to try at home.
Yeah. And the thing is, just remember, it's just this 1 1/4 circles, but very lightly. It's not massage. It's talking to the wisdom, the brilliance of our cells. And that scientists now know that every cell in the body knows its function in the body. This is a miracle. Like 100 trillion cells, and they all know the work in the body. So with the T-Touch, this is like a link. You're making a hello, a connection to that cellular wisdom. And the concept is to activate the communication between the cells, because when the horse is afraid, or if they have pain, it's the connection, the communication between the cells is disrupted, inhibited. And I had the amazing honor and pleasure of meeting twice with Dr. Fritz Albert Popp in his lab in Neuss, Germany. And he is the father of the biophoton. He had the International Institute for Biophysics. And when I showed him that I had experienced working on a horse who'd fallen and been hit by a jump pole and had a bruise on the hip, and the horse didn't want to be touched there. And I had this funny feeling, David, when I brought my hand there just to do very gentle work. Wow, really strange. There's less light in the cells, and you have to understand, I don't see things. I don't see auras or stuff. I only want to do what any child can do. But I had this sense that there was less light in the cells, and I told that to Dr. Popp. And when I gently worked around it and the horse lost the fear of the contact, the light changed and the horse didn't have any more pain, wasn't sore. So when I showed Dr. Popp, I did 3 circles on his shoulder like this, and told him, and he said, oh, the light in the cells represents the communication between the cells.
Okay,
and
so you bring back the cell. When you have a trauma in the cell, you bring back the cell to function.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And our mantra, our like, when our intention of working with a person or an animal or a dog or a kitty, it doesn't matter, is the message is remember your perfection. That means remember your ideal perfection at the cellular level, because it's known that every cell, it's written. every cell is a genius. I have this in this wonderful book, the new book by an incredible scientist who just now, she got to the point she stopped doing her science and she just wanted to teach people to recognize the wonder that this is. This body is a wonder. I mean, oh my gosh, and our horses. And other thing, David, I want to throw in for your readers. It's really important. Oh, where's this book? Roland, can you hand me that book right there, please? This is in German, of course. It's the idea of forgiveness. It's the idea, it's called, I'm going to show you this and you can maybe write this, the top book. Yeah, thank you. It's this little book by Ulrich Dupre. And Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono.
But it's also in German available.
Yes, yeah. It's written by a German. He's a German.
Okay.
And it's the Hawaiian prayer of forgiveness. Now, why do I say that? Because, you know, when a horse does something wrong, lots of people think, well, he bit me. I'm going to hit him. I'm going to, you know, get after him if he does something like bad. And the thing is, you know, I did the same thing. I was a trainer of dogs and horses for many years. And if they did something bad, I like whacked them or punished them until 1981. And I read one sentence in a book in the Course in Miracles. And the sentence was that aggression comes from a place of fear and is a cry for help. Aggression stammt aus Angst, ne?
Angst.
Und ist, ja, und ist ein Schrei für Hilfe.
Schreit nach Hilfe, ja.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, David, when I read that sentence, I thought of the horses and the dogs that I had punished, you know, for kicking or biting. And
so it's just coming from fear, basically.
Yeah. And now it doesn't mean that you accept it, but instead of punishing, we show the horse or dog, or the horse in this case, how not to be afraid by working with respect on the body. And, you know, you hear in the horse world, well, the horse has to respect me. We need to respect the horse. Now, what does that mean? Respect comes from the word to see the individuality, no? To recognize the soul of the horse. And so it's really different. So now if a horse bites, and you know, it doesn't work. You know how you hit them and people hit them and they try to get you when you're not looking, right? So now we simply contain them and we work the mouth, all around the mouth. And when you do, this affects the part of the brain that controls the behavior. And of course you hold them so they can't bite you. And you can absolutely, and I'm doing this for me because we teach this also to children and adults. If a person is holding a lot of fear, you can work just like this, disappear the fear. So I want to show one more thing for your horses and your riders. And darn it, I can't pull up a video, but the ear T-touch on the horse, and I'm going to tell you a little story in a minute, but this here, yeah, you put your thumb behind, fold your forefinger and like do this slide up and go in this little bowl here and up and a little bit upward, be not down. A down is not a good feeling, like this. Now, when you do this, if you're feeling not well or you've had an injury, you can keep a person or a horse out of shock or bring them out of shock. And we have hundreds of cases of this. Or if you're not feeling well, like your horse isn't feeling well, you're waiting for the vet, you work the ears from the base out to the tips. And that's all in the book, and it really shows this. And the same thing,
big Bible.
Yeah, in the big Bible, yes, in this Bible, yes.
Yeah. So what if a horse doesn't want me to touch his ears yet?
Yeah, and that's a really important thing. Then I do have a wonderful video showing that, the horse named Rembrandt. You're probably too young to remember him, but Rembrandt was a dressage horse. Nicole Uphoff won a gold medal on him for Germany. But she could never touch his ears. I mean, it was a terrible thing to try to clip his ears. And they had to twitch him. It was really hard. So I was working on the horse for a video that I did with Klaus Balkenhol. And so what I did, oh, he can't touch his ears. Well, no problem. And I just started working on the body, and I did his whole body and did his leg circles and did his tail. And then I came up to his face, and then I just started, touching him. And I could work his ears for the first time. And he was 18 at that time. And
so
you see
you started on
the
the other body parts, so he got used to your touch and everything, right?
So they trust you.
Yeah.
It's the trust. And what was really cool in the video, it's called T-Touch for Dressur Pferde.
Is it on YouTube or something?
No, it should be on YouTube because hardly anyone buys any videos anymore. I know maybe WeHorse will put it on. I don't know if they'll get that. You can buy it from Cosmos.
Cosmos.
Yeah, but it's wonderful. I have to ask Christian why they don't put that on WeHorse, because it's a wonderful video. So what was amazing is that Nicole from the saddle then after shows it on the video, she could reach up and touch his ears from the video. Now, why is that worthwhile? Because if you've got a horse that has too much energy and you want to ride, but you haven't had time to get them out enough, not enough exercise, you just bring the head down first, and we show this how in the book, and just do from the base of the ear sideways out to the tips, a few minutes of this, and your horse will go into that state that's called the parasympathetic state of rest and relax. And then they want to work with you.
Okay. So many things to try at home. And I think we have now much information we can use at home, try at home. Then thanks a lot, Linda, for your time. It was a pleasure to get to know you, and thank you that you shared all the details and the information and the extra bonus video so people can really see you working on the horse.
Thank you.